Hello, my YouTube. I am behind today. Oh, it's been one of those days. Let me get my chat ready. Man, everything wants me to re sign in. It's like, what the heck? I just had to take my dog out and get myself situated. Okay. Make sure my volume, is off. So we get no echoes. Alrighty. It's been one of those days, I'm telling you. Get in here. Hey, Randy. I've been having a busy day. I just saw the coolest thing ever. I have to share it with you guys. Oh, shoot. I forgot to bring the picture down. I'm going to have to remember. When I read the World War II letters, a picture of William, there was a negative, and I took it to a studio. Hey, Katas, and I got it developed so you guys can actually see what William looks like, the guy that wrote the letters. I keep forgetting to bring him downstairs. Hey, Vid. Welcome in. Hey, Randy. Hey, Katats. So we got Missouri Outlaw Randy in the house. We got Katats TV. We have been for the win. I need getting better about announcing full screen names so people can come check your channels out. So I was in a Whatnot sale and I seen the announcement because this is the second time this has happened. Kat Von D has been selling off shoes. And apparently they're moving. So brand new, slightly worn, whatever, and giveaways like you would not believe. She has these really cool leather. They look like casket style, like, Dracula style casket wallets made out of leather. They're so cool. And so she had a sale tonight. So I went in for a little bit to see because she has like shoes that are like designers and stuff. And she's selling them really reasonable on her channel because she's moving to Indiana. She makes the announcement on her channel. And if you don't believe me, because I don't make up stories, even though I know YouTubers do, this is to prove it. This is her and Candy. I print screened a picture off of Whatnot so that you can see I'm telling the truth. So anyways, in the let me see if it shows it in one of the pictures. It might not show that it's on Whatnot, but it's there. So anyways, she was selling on there. And if you don't know who Kat Von D is, she used to be Miami Ink tattoo artist. And she also had a makeup line and stuff like that through YouTube. I knew more about her. Like I used to watch Miami Ink on TV, but I knew more about her when I came to YouTube. Because she does vegan makeup and stuff like that. So anyways, she did the most coolest thing ever. When her sale was over, she rated, you have a feature on Whatnot where you could rate another seller. I didn't get anything. But anyways, you could rate another seller. So she picked somebody random who had 60s, 60s, 70s, 80s fashion. It's not a famous person. It's just a regular person like we are. And when you do a raid, you set up a pin and everybody from one stream automatically goes into the stream that they raid. It's like a pool. It used to be a boot program on Yahoo, back in the day where you would be in one chat room and you were drugged to another one. Well, they turned it into a raid on what that's what I think is funny, because I know all these things for being on here too long. But so this girl was so flabbergasted when we all went in and said Kat Von D raid. She goes, "What? What?" She was so flustered she messed up on pinning her giveaway. It's hysterical. That's the kind of fame impact certain people have on people. Like, I'm not a fan. I wouldn't consider myself a fan of anybody. I have never been a groupie type personality. It's just not me. There's people I've liked because they play characters, but at the end of the day, I mean, think about it. They're just people. Even if they become actors, singers, whatever, they started out just like everybody else, unless they were born into it. But I'm not a person that's going to faint if I see somebody famous. I don't go all Google and wacky. I don't know. It's just not my nature. Maybe there's something wrong with me. I don't know. But I just don't. I can have fun with somebody famous just as much as I could anybody in this chat room. I mean, because that's just how I feel about people in general. Because, I mean, think about it. Look at all the people that's in the headlines doing all this crazy stuff now. You know what I mean? Like the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp and all that crap. And people are like, oh my God, I can't possibly like this person anymore because they did. Well, we don't even know them at the end of the day, who they really are when they're playing characters. If you know what I mean? I mean, that's just how I look at it. I have a different life philosophy than most normal people, I guess. But I look at this way, we all shit and piss the same. So we're all people. It's just some people climb and some people don't, or some people become famous and some people don't. But that doesn't mean that we're not all special. I mean, that's just how I look at it. But to get rated by someone unexpectedly like that was so cool to see her face. That girl, it made her day. Just that Kat Von D did the raid into her stream was just so amazing, because she was so flabbergasted because it was unexpected, that it was the coolest thing ever to see. Because I think it's fun when somebody famous can make somebody's day brighter. I think it's awesome when somebody does something like that, because she didn't have to do that. She could have ended her show and been done. But because she did something special for somebody, I thought that was really cool. Randy. No, I like being friends with people. I'm just kind of in the background. I'm not really a fan of anybody. Hey, Haley. I don't know if you heard what I was saying before you come in here, but that was the coolest thing ever to see. Kat Von D raid a normal person stream that wasn't famous was just cool. So anyways, I got caught up in that, and that's why I'm late, because I had to take my dog out to go to the bathroom, because I always take her out before I come down here. And she's up there looking at me like, Mom, I gotta go. But I wanted to watch Kat Von D while she was on. But that was like the coolest live ever. That was a lot of fun. So anyway, I was going through a magazine because I was trying to decide, as I paint these pages, what kind of a book I'm going to turn this into. So I decided to go with whatever suits me for this book. So it's just going to be random, but I don't want it to look like my glue book that I normally make. I want to do something a little different where I theme it instead of having just, random stuff all through it. Hey, Kyle. So I was going through magazines, and I saw this picture, and I love looking at magazines because the art in them can be so amazing at times. This is a binary butterfly. If you look close, you see the computer binary numbers of 1 and 0. And they created a butterfly. I freaking love that. I look for the craziest stuff when I'm looking at art stuff. So I'm going to cut this butterfly out and use it today before I start painting the rest of my pages. So I think what I might end up doing with this book is it might turn out to be just nature. And we know I love my nature because of my, I showed this a long time ago. This is one of the journals I started creating. It's a 6x9 book cover, which I prefer. It's my favorite size. I think it's because the way the book lays. But I started creating this for the people who are new to my stream. This is not a signature book. It's not a hidden signature. It's where you tear out so many pages and you turn it into a journal. You rebuild it up. And I love National Geographics. I had, because you go, the people that know I own a used bookstore, some people can't sell them and they don't know what to do with them. So I bet you I had like 6 boxes of National Geographics just dropped outside my store. So I got them for free. And I built some, what I called altered books. Now, some people call all the books that you change altered. I don't. I only call the altered ones. It's just me. I call the altered ones the ones you rip the pages out of because it's still the same book. You're just removing pages. If I do signatures, I call it hidden signatures. If I do signatures, I just call it signatured. I don't have the same name for every book like some people do. But that's just me. So anyways, this was actually going to be for sale once I got it finished, but I ended up looking at it. It's like, Tammy, you made this book with all your favorite things. And I ended up falling in love with the journal, so I kept it. So this is the first journal of mine that I created that I kept because a lot of times crafters will make journals and they just for selling purposes. And I have used it. So what I did is I went through and I kept adding pictures. And if the pages were blank, I left them blank in case I want to add more pictures or write. And then this is my coffee dyed paper. And this is what it looks like when you journal in my books, at least my writing. And then here's another page. And then I turn some into pockets where I can slip cards in, like a hide and go seek place, or if I want to save something. And I love this journal. When I journal, I like to have something I can look at when I'm journaling. Now, as a busy mom, I love this picture. I think this is so funny. But as a mom, what I would probably do is have a picture like this, probably more, and then like a little, when you're busy and you only have time to jot down a few things. And then this is a pocket that goes down in. I love this whole entire book. This was all National Geographic pages throughout this whole entire book. And this is what I call my peekaboo pocket, where I put a little animal peeking. And right over here. And now this was a page in the book. I mean, who couldn't keep that? Look at that cat. So when I pick out books, like I'll leave pictures in them. I won't rip the pages out of the books I want to keep. Like this was in the book itself. But I do try to reuse the book pages that I have torn out into something else. But I love this book. I had a lot of fun actually using one of my own books. This was pretty cool. So I love homemade journals. I think the junk journaling community, or I don't care if they're crafty journals, junk journals, I think they're all amazing. And this was fun to create. But the pink one that I made, for anybody that wants to commit, I am not a pink girl, but I thought outside the box. And I literally made the journal that you guys saw in my live stream. I made the Paris one. It's actually now for sale in my Etsy store. I did a video flip through. So if anybody's interested to go check it out, or if you're interested in purchasing it, that's up to you. It doesn't matter, to me either way. I just want you to know that sometimes I'm going to start, because I need to rebuild my Etsy stores and I have been slacking. So, but I did finally upload it because I know that there was a couple people wanting to know when I was going to post it. Now, if I can just find it. Here it is. But it took a while, and I ended up adding a couple extra features. Thank you, Kyle. I added a couple features to it. And after I did the videos, but it's in the flip through though, because I wanted to do a fabric flip and stuff like that. And I didn't get to come live last week because I had Penguin Boss, who I absolutely love shopping from on Whatnot. She had her 2,000 following giveaway party. So last Wednesday I was modding. I helped mod for her at nights when Pretty Corn, she's one of her main mods. She's so funny. When she goes to bed, I mod for them. And they ran pretty late and they did a lot of giveaways and things like that. So that's where I was last Wednesday. But I do try to put it in a title of a video and post a video when I'm not going to be live, so that people know that I'm not here, because I do like sticking kind of to a schedule. But I wanted you all to know I wasn't here for a reason. And I do like to help out fellow people when they need it, but I do like sticking to my Wednesdays too. Usually I don't do much on Wednesdays because I'm prepping to come here, because I have to start planning stuff that I'm going to do. Normally I wing stuff, but here lately I've been trying to be a little bit more organized because I kind of got to work around my puppy and other things. So I'm trying to be better at being organized. I'm a planner when it comes to vacations and things like that, but there's times when I come on here live, I just kind of wing it, because I really want you guys to see things that you can do that you don't have to plan for. And my second channel I started, it's going pretty good. It was definitely a challenge being a newbie on YouTube, because I forgot what the rules were under 1K. And it wouldn't let me upload anything past 15 minutes. You know how hard it is to craft and what I do in under 15 minutes? It's really hard because I don't want to edit. I want people to see in real time how long it takes to do things. But that's just my preference as a crafter. It doesn't mean that editing's bad or anything like that. So don't take that comment wrong. It's just because I like watching edited stuff too. The only kind of videos that I have pet peeves with, and this is just me, I'm a very, I wouldn't want to say slow person, because I can catch on to things quick, or it just depends on what it is. But I'm a very thorough person. Thorough, like I don't like when people do stuff too fast. Like there's a makeup artist when I used to be in the makeup world. She does her stuff so fast, it gives me a headache. I can't do, how you're watching a video, you can tell where they edit because it's like skips, and you can see it in the frames. I literally have a migraine after watching one of those. So that's why I don't edit. Some people like their stuff shown fast. I'm just not one of those people. Now, if it's a slow edit, it doesn't bother me. But I know you guys know what I'm talking about if you've watched enough YouTube. I like stuff shown to where I can catch the details. So I'm really picky on content that I watch all the way through. Because if it gives me a headache, it's not that I don't watch the whole video to give the person watch time, but I probably won't be back to their channel much because I can't handle the migraines and the fastness. Because sometimes when you're on the web, it messes with your eyes enough. You know that the quickness actually, it just hurts. I don't know how else to explain it. I don't know if anybody else has that problem or not, but I know I do. I'm just speaking my own opinion. But when I watch something, especially like if I'm doing a craft along, I like it when a person takes their time so I can craft along with them and stuff like that. Like taking my time. But there's some crafters that do that too. Like they're real indecisive and you know, and I understand like if some people don't have a sewing machine, it's good to show how they can glue. And if some people do have a sewing machine to teach them how to sew. But when you have a person that's trying to do a tutorial and they're like, do this and don't do that. And it's like, just slow down, craft, and just show. It's my philosophy. I'm old. I don't like things going too fast. I like being slow with things. So that's why you'll see like parts. And when I'm on my new channel that I'm trying to do some stuff and it's like YouTube cut me off in 15 minutes. It's like, what? It wouldn't let me post anything as a newbie under 15 minutes. And I'm like, how in the heck am I going to do videos to show people how to do stuff? Because I want my second channel to be more of a teaching channel. How am I supposed to? If they cut me off and I don't edit. So I'm going to have to do it in parts and I have to plan it to be able to pull it off. So far it's going okay because I want people to be able to craft along if they want to. And it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, you know, sometimes people don't have to journal to like journals. You don't have to do like a diary. You can use journals for anything. You can use them for receipts for shopping online. Like if you're shopping on Amazon and you just want to keep track at the same time. Sometimes I use the memo on my phone. Sometimes I use a hand journal. I've seen people use journals for like planning out their day. And I'm not talking a daily planner. I mean, they literally, like I watched this one crafter. She'll put exactly what she wants to do in her journal step by step. And she refers to those journals. She'll have a live sale when she does the same thing. She has her content of what she's going to sell, her list in her journal. It's, you know, my dad uses a binder when he fills out bills monthly. He used to write everything in a binder because back in the day when you used to write paper checks, the checkbook was too small. So he had a binder separate that he would, you know, do the adding and subtracting and all that kind of stuff. So I guess that's where I get it from, because my family always, I'm a paper person. I just love paper. And I think I get it from my family because they're like that too. They like writing everything down and prepping stuff. So that's why I like journals. And I used to love going school shopping with my daughters. Dill! We used to love picking out fancy notebooks and all the school supplies. So that's another thing I love about paper. And I love everything to do with office stuff. Are you being a good boy, Dill? I need to sneak up on your channel with my second channel one of these days. I'm gonna get you. I hardly have no friends on my second channel. I need to build it up. I've been trying to get around. Today I visited a bunch of channels on it. Hey, John. So I will get there. But I have to remember to go get that picture of William so you guys can see the guy that wrote all of the I might do a video and add it to the letter reading playlist instead of doing it live. I think I might do a video so you guys can see what William looks like. I got the negatives developed of our World War II William. I just wish I had a picture of Elsie to go with it. That would be so cool. I call this cussy cutting. People in here call this fussy cutting. I call it cussy cutting because, man, this is hard. Hold on. Gotta cut these little. You've been torturing spiders lately. You can come torture my spiders, Dill. I got tons of them. I killed one today. I hate the spiders down here. Ugh. I got to get rid of more books, and I think I'm going to have it sprayed. Have a professional come in and do it because these spiders are ridiculous. And if I can get this or not, I'm going to try. I'm trying not to cut off those little caterpillar spikes over here. So it's hard to do. Come on. Give me 1 second, Tiff. I seen you come in. I'll give you a hug here in a second. Try not to rip this paper. And this is a fine tooth cut. Cussy cutting. Sometimes you want to cuss. Well, come off. Ugh. I don't want to let go. A minute. Get off of there. There. Do this one. Yes. Look how tiny those pieces are. Cutting around his little tentacles over here. Okay, that one's already down. Come off. Man, that's some tough cut. Okay, let's get this side. It's probably why people have machines do it, but I still do it by hand. Just cut his tentacles off over here. Scoot you over. And then get this side. Dill would be over here dissecting this thing. Or torturing it. There. See, that's what I just cut around. Wait, I'll show you. Against this later paper. So you can see up close. See those little jagged tentacles? That's what I just cut around. That's some little skinny little papers to take out. Okay, I'm going to go around here. Let's get that over. And then, ugh, I'm almost finished. Get this butterfly cut out. My binary butterfly. Come on. Okay. There. I did it. Okay. Let me get Tippy's hug in here. Get back and read. Well, Dell, you can have my spiders. I got plenty to share. Uh-oh. You know, speaking of owls, I have a story to share with you, Dell. Oh, John, you're so sweet. My sister used to have this black cat, and his name was Snoopy. Because he was always nibbing into everything. So she called him Snoopy. And I'm talking, this cat was big. Like, he was thick, built, strong. And some days she would come out on her porch, and she would see like dead mice and stuff, you know, because that's how cats show their appreciation. They leave you their dead things. Well, he was something else. That's all I have to say. And one day she came out, and he had killed a screech owl, Dill. A screech owl. I can't even imagine that fight. I'm surprised they didn't hear that all over the neighborhood. And half of his ear was torn, and he won. The cat winning against an owl is a pretty big deal because owls are wicked. Yep. He left a dead screech owl on the porch. She was like, oh my gosh. She says, I can't even. I said, yeah, I can't either. It's sad when you watch nature because, you know, you always root for the underdogs. It seems like I hate hearing that. You know, the animals killing other animals. I know it's nature, but it doesn't mean I have to accept it. But one time my husband found a snake that was trying to swallow a frog, and he saved the frog. He chopped the snake's head off and saved the frog. He says it's sad when you're in nature, like, you know, because he was a hunter. He hunted deer and stuff. He said, but I hate that when I see a helpless animal get attacked. I said, yeah, I get it. I said, I like watching those videos where the underdogs actually, you know, work. saving themselves. But I hate watching videos on it. It makes me sick. Even though you know it's out there, it's like, ugh. Somebody had posted a video on TikTok of a coyote and a cat. And the coyote, I'm telling you what, that cat was beating the crap out of its face. To the poor coyote, he was trying everything to eat that cat. To me, I like action movies, but not like that. So I love this page right here that I did. And I want to put this on it because I think this suits this page. And maybe some word or something up there later, but I just love that butterfly. It was in some kind of ad in a magazine, and I just thought, oh, it's just so pretty. Some people, I'm telling you, that do ads in magazines, they're very creative. I think it would be cool. I mean, I doodle sometimes, but I'm not that good of a drawer. And you guys don't know this. My YouTube family doesn't know this. I used to sing on Paltalk. They used to come in and request me to sing all the time. And it's weird not having music on YouTube. Like, I know that they have some in the library, but it was just fun. We used to karaoke and stuff over there. People used to literally come in and request me to sing God Help Your Ears. I don't know why, but I used to sing all the time. I know I was told when I was a baby, my grandpap would pick me up and hold me and say, she's just a singing again every time I'd cry. So, but it was funny. I really like this. I really, really like this butterfly. And it's binary. Look at the binary numbers in that thing. Whoever created that on a computer, thank you. Because that's very cute. So I'm going to take and decoupage this. And when I decoupage, most of the time, I just prefer to use my fingers. Because I just think that when you feel the texture and putting it down, you know that spots aren't missed. And it just, I don't know. I like playing in glue, but I don't eat it and I don't sniff it. My husband used to tell me when he was in school, he used to eat paste. I'm like, really? Is that what's wrong with you? Is that what's wrong with your brain? Is that why it's so stuck? It's because you used to eat paste. He goes, you're funny. I did a couple videos with the hubs. Did you see it? I had him eat snack foods that I bought off of Whatnot. We got to do another one. Snack foods from other countries. No, I'm not sniffing it. But I will tell you that one crafting glue is really, really good. It's great for fabrics. And it's really, really great if you don't want the water bubbles. Like sometimes when glue bubbles up, because it does not contain water. No, this is not sponsored. It's just a fact. But I can't use it close to my face because it gives me a headache. And that is Fabri-Tac. There's also another type it's like Fabri-Tac. They sell one on Amazon. I forget the name of it. But this is what Fabri-Tac looks like. And it's acetone. And that's why it gives me a headache. I used to be an airbrush painter. And I was a painter. And I also worked assembly down at the end of the line. Like we made up laid up snowmen and stuff like that. I would have to clean up the paint mess that the painters left. If you don't know what blow mold is, and you don't know what it's like to paint blow mold, it's a very interesting job. You go down like 3 pant sizes every year because we worked at 110 degrees. I was a laborer, people, and let me tell you, it was a job. So once it comes down the line, like say our reindeer, for instance, I'll give you an example. Reindeer were horrible, just so you guys know. They had 2 poles that lit fire, and the tread of the assembly line was right here. So these here, you had fire spitting out. So you would slide the deer in by the hoof to get the baked feel so the paint would stick. And they would send it down a conveyor belt for the assembly line. So the first painter was me on white. Now I'm a left-hander, but I had to be ambidextrous to do this job. So the way the paint was, because the masks that they fit in are heavy and they go up on a nail. So what you do is you grab the deer off the line, stick it in the metal, shut it, and the only parts that was open was the part I painted. So I would have to come down this way to do the white on his chest, across his belly to do the white, and flip up his tail. And you're doing this 4,000 times a day, people. My wrist was swelled up to here one time because of that motion. I had to go and have shots in my wrist. It was a lot of fun. But anyways, so when I would pull it out after the white was done, I would put it back on the assembly line. It would go to the next color, which was the red. Red was horrid. I painted that color too at times, because it was always wetter than the rest of the paint, no matter how much they adjusted it. So we had to turn in circles on red. And what red was, the whole harness that was across the deer. And if you don't want to talk about, the sleds with, you have the reindeer out in your yard, and then you have Santa in the sleigh behind him. It's like, what was it, it was like 6 deer or something like that. And then you have the sled. Well, they were coming down the conveyor about hoof to hoof. There's no space in between. So you're pulling them off, painting them, setting it behind you, pulling the next one off, doing the same thing, setting it behind you. And you had to set it up in 3 little loops because the red took longer to dry. It was the hardest to paint. So then after me, because I did both colors. I can't remember who was more consistently on one color. They had one guy take over white. I did red, and then Jerome did black. I love Jerome. Oh, my God. He was one of my favorite people to work with, because you're in your own paint booth. You're not really talking to anybody all day. You're in your own booth, so you don't really get to talk to people till breaks. And he was on black. I have to share this one time. It was so funny. I love sharing work stories with people because it's a blast. And I do have a picture of us all together. And he's going, "Hey, Tammy, look." He says, "I'm a white boy turning black." And I'm not meaning that in a racial slur, because he was black. He was so fun to work with, because he would be painting in certain colors, and it would just, you got it all over your face, all over your body. And he was over there, and he'd make these comments. We would die laughing. So I used to get down and steal his hat. And as the snowmen were coming down the conveyor belt, I put his hat on. He didn't even know it was gone. And all you'd see is this snowman coming down the conveyor belt with Jerome's hat. He'd say, "Damn it, Tammy." But it was fun because we used to send candy because it was so hot. And you're sweating, and like you're wearing double tank tops and shorts and everything. And you had Gatorade that the company supplied. But I would send down fireballs or root beer barrels, and you'd hear everybody screaming down the line going, "Yay, candy!" They were the best crew. They really were. So on the deer, it was white, red, and black. And then at the end, the paint, after so long on the masks, would get built up, and they had a machine. And every so often, they had to be changed out, put in the machines, and then you would get a new one. when it got built up and you had to fix, the paint that was dripping into, like onto the brown part of the deer, you had acetone. You had like a bottle hooked up to an airbrush so that you could fix things when the paint got lifted. And you had acetone with cotton balls or rags or whatever, and you would wipe off the excess. And then the deer would go down the rest of the line, and whoever was at the end, I felt even more sorry for, because they were doing 4 people's jobs in one job. That means they had to make the box, put the metal stands in, put the paper directions in, and pack the deer, but they had to make sure they were dry. So they had a skid at the bottom, and it had a great big box, and you would literally have to put the deer in sometimes because they were still wet. It was a job. It really was. So, no, I wouldn't have said naughty stuff, but you would have loved it, Dill. You'd had a blast there. And so my daughter, one year, your kids, you think back when you're a kid and your parents, supplied all the food and everything. And when you have to adult, it changes things for you because now you're having to put the food on the table and pay the bills. And you really miss being at home where you didn't have to do all that crap. And you wonder how your parents did it sometimes. So my daughter didn't know what she was going to do, for college. And I said, well, I told her, I said, I want you to get a taste of what real labor is. So I was hired into the company. They usually hired from a temp company, but I got hired in directly because my sister-in-law worked blow mold. But we never saw each other because we were on different shifts. She was on day and I was on afternoon turn, and then they stuck me in the assembly part. And it was so cool because I was able to pull my daughter in there for the summer. And I told my boss, once I got to know everybody there and stuff, I said, I want her to have a taste of what real labor is. So she's going to really think about what she wants to do with her life. She worked the bottom of that deer line. It was in tears. First, they gave her the initiation because she was my daughter. Jerome filled up a great big cooler and drenched her. She was soaking wet, her underwear. It was hysterical. We used to have water battles and all kinds of stuff. Used to get in trouble. Yeah, we were bad, Dill. So anyways, they drenched her because she was my daughter. And it used to be Mac Plastics is what it was called. It was a company out of Washington, Pennsylvania. And a guy named Falcone bought it and turned it into Falcon Plastics. And then there was Grand Venture that came up and merged. Donnie Wade was the owner of Grand Venture, and they merged with our company. And Donnie, I was the only left-hander, and Donnie says, we have left-handers applying for jobs, but nobody teaching them. So the owner of the company stood behind me, breathing down my back. Tell me that's not nerve-wracking. And he's like, I want you to learn how to paint. Because I wasn't a painter at that time. I was the touch-up, so I knew all the mistakes that came down the line. He said, but we need a left-handed painter so you could teach people that come in. And I'm thinking, oh, great, this is going to be fun. So I had to learn to twirl the mask with my right hand and paint with my left. That's what I mean by the ambidextrous. So he says, I want you to show me what you can do. And I'm like, but I've never painted, so how do I know what I can do? And he says, just try. So I'm standing there looking like an idiot. At least I thought so at the time. And he put a long candle in. It was a long red candle I remember painting. And I did it in 4. I was twirling and painting at the same time, and I did it in 4. He says, now I'm going to teach you to do it in 3. So he taught me how to cover that in 3. We literally doubled up one night to break Mac Plastics record because they wanted to. So we had 2 people on one color, 2 people on another color to get the production faster. 4,000 candles we put out in one night with 2 people on 2 of the colors, one at the end and then assembly. It was pretty amazing. Believe me, we were hot, tired, sweating. We had so much fun though. We really did. Even when it was tough, we had fun. And my daughter was in tears by the end of the night. She's, Mom, I don't know how you do this job. And I said, now this is what you have a choice to do. You can either become a laborer like this, or you can go to college and do something with your brain. Well, my oldest decided to go to college. Now she has a business and business. She has a bachelor's in business administration, and she works HR, and she's really good at it because she didn't want to be a laborer and sweat the rest of her life. And I'm so proud of her because she'll go in for temp jobs, and they literally make a job to keep her. And I'm not exaggerating because she's my daughter. She's that smart. They want to keep her, so they make a job to keep her. And she's doing really well. Plus, she has 4 kids. So tell me that ain't Superwoman. She's got twins, stayed home for a time period, because she left one job to stay home for a time period, went back into the workforce, and then her other job paid more, so she went back to that job. And now she's where they created a job for her in the first place. Isn't that crazy? But hey, you're a laborer even having 4 kids. But she's pretty much a powerhouse. I'm so proud of her. And then my youngest daughter, because I told them both, the one thing that I want to teach you in life is to make it without a man. And that's no offense to men. It's just the way society has always been. Like back in my grandmother's day, men were the head of household. Women weren't on the workforce. So a lot of women had to settle for pretty shitty relationships just to make it. And it's pretty sad because they couldn't work. And I remember those days when women weren't in the workforce and had to stay with cheaters and assholes. And not saying all men were bad, because not all were, but yeah, there was a lot. And they stuck it out because they couldn't make it on their own. They were only taught skills on how to take care of their kids and homes and things like that. So they get into pretty shitty relationships. Well, I didn't want that for my daughters. I told both of them, I want you to be able to stand on your own 2 feet, and I want you to make it, because I don't want you to have to rely on a man to be able to make it in this world. And both of them are workers. My youngest has been with her job for a long time. She's doing great. She gets promotions, raises, just like my oldest daughter. They're doing fantastic. So if something happens, they can make it on their own. And I love it, because I think more people should teach their kids to be more self-sufficient. I mean, that's just how I feel, as a mom. And it's funny because some people come on here and they'll say, you act like a mom. Well, because I am one. So of course I'm going to act like a mom. Yeah, but it's not that though. It's not about having no kids, no wives, no bills, and no debt, Dill. You can have a debt being single. I feel that life takes you to a point where you make it work with kids that are born, even if you can't prepare them. Even, if you're not prepared to have a kid, sometimes it just fits in. Not everybody plans to have kids. And look at the people that plan to have kids and it still fails. It just works its way into your life. You make do with what you get. Yeah, that's me too, Dill. After my dog passes away, I don't want any more animals either. I would rather just go donate to an animal shelter. And it's not because I don't ever want other animals. I would love to have other animals like cats and stuff, but getting older, and I just don't want an animal left behind if something happens to me. That's my biggest fear. As I told my husband, I would hate it because I have literally seen the saddest stories when elderly people had to go into nursing homes and they had to leave their pets after they were already grown, and nobody's going to take them, especially when they used to euthanize. Now, they do have no kill shelters now, which I think is fantastic. But, because it's sad. Why have an animal die just because somebody else raised it and it doesn't have any bad health issues? I hate that. So I told him we could always donate. My one cat, she lived to be 22 years old. That's a long time. Do you know that I was a part of Pinch Me, and they used to send me free samples, and they would ask questions on a survey, how old your animals are. Do you know that my cat's ages, they're on their drop down, it wasn't even in the list. They had up to 10 years and then they quit. And I told the company through Instagram, I said, dude, my cat's past the ages that you have in your drop down. You need to extend the ages, because cats can live to be, I think the oldest cat on record was let me see here, was Cream Puff. It's the oldest cat recorded in record that's recorded. He made it to 38 years old. I don't know if you can see that in the dark, but it says, rest in peace, Cream Puff. The oldest cat to be ever lived. This furball Fluff made it with no health complications before she passed away in her sleep. Over here it says Fluff made it to 38. My cats were 21 and 22 when they passed. And I'm thinking, 22 years from now, it's a long time. So I don't want to go through another animal because of that reason. I just don't want to leave my pets behind, because you just never know when your time is up. You never know. And I don't have any family that would take him in. Now, I think if I had a cat, maybe my one daughter would, because my other daughter has a psycho kitty. I don't think she would, because her cat's vicious. But hey, Lori. But I'm just saying that you know what I mean? I just don't want to go through anymore. Hope was my last cat. Roni will be my last dog. And I like it that way. So that's how I'm going to keep it. Because I really don't want any dogs after Roni. I have owned animals my whole life. Since we were kids, we had outdoor pets. We weren't allowed to have them inside. But I've had animals for as long as I can remember. Sorry, I need this to dry. I can't paint until this dries. Here, let me mute this. Give me a sec. All right, I'm going to set it aside a little longer because it's going to take a little bit. It doesn't want to dry yet. So that's my philosophy on not having no more pets. But anyways, Fabri-Tac when you put it on because it's acetone based. It doesn't have water in it. So your stuff won't bubble. So that's why I like keeping this glue around, because it's really good for fabric and certain things like that. And my other favorite glue is my Aleena's. Now you can get Aleena's at the Dollar Tree. I don't think they have clear yet. It comes in little gold bottles that's white, but and it also comes. I got this on special, where it's got the glue stick that fits here. It was like a 2-in-1. But these are my favorites. But when I go to decoupage, it's definitely the clear Elmer's I like best. This here is kind of like, I don't know, crafters love this glue. I'm not a big fan of it. This art glitter glue, it comes out so fast. But it's got a tip that's nice for like little projects, but I don't like it. It's like it spills out. It's not my favorite. But I'll finish the bottle because I have it. And what else is there that I use? I think it's pretty much it. I don't use glue sticks that much. I should use them a little more because they tend to want to stick to the paper when I'm sliding them. That's why I don't use them. But this is a good glue, though. It's just the smell of it gives me a headache. And Arlene, I got to show you guys these. When you go to Defy and they do their auctions for disabled artists, people that have a hard time crafting and stuff, they find out things that they like and they're low income, and they do auctions to supply. There's a girl that I met on YouTube that's a friend of mine. She actually put these up for auction. Her name's Arlene. You guys look at this. You know what these are made out of. She goes out and finds the coolest junk. And this would be so cute as a cake topper for a wedding cake for somebody that likes mechanics. Or look at this. She took some pieces that she found and added stuff to them, and there's the bride. I bought this at an auction. Tell me that this is not crafty. Is that like the cutest things you ever saw? And she took a chain and put it around the top of that little piece. But look, it's like connectors. Look how cute. I freaking love these. And they had them up for auction. Believe me, we were fighting over them because I've never seen anything created so cutely in my life. No, I would say they're pretty even, Dill. I don't regret my kids. I got good kids. I like kids, so my grandkids are even more special because you can spoil them and send them home. My one granddaughter, Kylie, sounds like Ducky. I swear she would have the cutest cartoon voice ever. She reminds me of Ducky the dinosaur on Land Before Time. Oh my God, she's so stinky cute. She has her own personality. I took her gifts to her the other day. Her birthday was in March, and she got a whole thing of Play-Doh that I got her. She loves playing with Play-Doh, and she's going, Mom, these are going in my room. My daughter looked at her. She says, you have to share. Oh, no, I'm not sharing. These are mine, and they're going in my room. And my daughter says, you know that where Play-Doh goes. It's not in your room. And she says, and she says, no, they're going where the rest of the play. But it's so funny how bossy she is. I freaking love her sass. And I told Jade, I said, when you have a kid that acts like you, isn't it cute? Because because my oldest loved being bossy. I remember when we first moved into our neighborhood, the kids come up to the playground going, "Your daughter's so bossy." I said, "I know." Oh my God, it's so funny though. But I think these are absolutely adorable. To take parts and turn it into, and then look, there's like a little flower. Like she used some crafty items, but just to take parts and turn it into, I don't know, they remind me of Johnny Five. I think they're adorable. I have them and they're sitting right beside me. It's one of the things I have sitting beside me on my little craft stand so I can look at it because I just think they're cute. And that's what I said. Every crafter has their own niche. And she is really good at this stuff. She creates the most beautiful things. I have other things from her too. She made me a cross with a bunch of buttons. I've done like openings of things that she has made me, and she is just the sweetest person. She's in Tennessee. I told her, I said, I got to come to Tennessee and visit you because I love Tennessee. The state of Tennessee is one of my favorite places. But yeah, so cute. I love her. And the guy, I think they're so cute as a set. I will always cherish her work. So I'm waiting for that to dry. This is Tina's Crafty Life's work. Messy Tina. I always say Tina made me do it. She is my favorite mixed media crafter. She sold this at one of her live sales, and of course she put that on there. But look at all the stuff this girl does. She loves playing with jelly plates and stencils. And when I did this class, she was one of the people who was teaching it, like the prompts. So I was having fun doing mixed media with her. Take care, John. I like it when crafters uplift each other, you know, instead of, ooh, I don't do mixed media, or ooh, I don't do that. It's like, just be quiet, bite your tongue, and praise the ones who do it. So that's where I'm at. I'm on a journey of uplifting other crafters. Now, eventually, I'll add my own stuff in it and then show. But look how cool this is. I told her this is like back in the 50s. Peace and love, dude. Isn't that cute? She's so creative. I call her the mixed media queen. I love watching her craft. She'll come on the middle of the night, just jibber jab and craft away. And then Bema, show you some of the samples I have from people. Bema made this. I love this thing. I still need to turn it into a brag book, but I haven't done it yet. This is Graphic 45. I just love this. She has it stickered on. How cute how she did the tie. Some people will poke holes into them, and some will wrap them around before they actually like sew into the books. And this here is so cute. It's cards with little sayings, but I could put like my grandkids' pictures here and turn it into a brag book. And she's got a tag in through the top. Graphic 45 has beautiful paper lines. And then here's another one. I love how she did this book. And I got this at one of her sales. Bravely She Flies. I have 3 grandsons and 3 granddaughters. So I hear the boys' side too. It's funny, they're starting to go through their voice changes. And oh my gosh. Both of my grandsons, that's the older to turn 13. I'm thinking, oh my God, where did the time go? And then my youngest one's Ethan. And we just got him a flying thing that he likes that glows. Yeah, I got the Brady Bunch, Lori. I got 3 boys and 3 girls. 3 grandsons and 3 granddaughters. And they all have their own personas, let me tell you. But this is BMA's little book that's cute. But I like keeping certain things just around me. And what else? This came, I think I showed this last week. This came from a Defy auction where they raised money for the Hardest. And I thought this was so cute. They took a board and made it a jar. And then they put a clip on it for a little notepad. And then here's part of a homemade journal made out of a cover of one of those calendars. And you could see where it's signatured in. So you could take this with you on the road, put your grocery list in it, whatever you want to do, stick it in your purse, carry it with you. I thought this was cute. And they have a ribbon with a pen. This is one of the things from the auction. I'll put Defy in here. Anybody, if you're interested, I mean, I'm not saying you have to buy, but lurk. It's the second Saturday every month. They do an auction to raise money for disabled crafters. There's actually a website. It's a nonprofit. This is people who with disabilities write in, or they're, sometimes with their families help, and they sign up and they'll say if they're a paper crafter, a painter, pottery, it doesn't matter. You can even be a canvas painter. And all the auctions pay 100% for their proceeds, where they don't even have to pay shipping. Literally, it goes to a disabled person with disabilities or limited abilities. This is the website. And then the second Saturday, you see tons of crafters in this stream when this goes on. And another thing that I like watching the video for is because it's inspiring. Like they show the stuff that they sell in the auctions to make the money to do the stuff for the Hardest. Here's the link. This is Care Hearts. This is where they have the live auctions. Like 1 month they'll do junk journals, 1 month they'll do something else. And it's very inspiring because you see what other crafters are making. And one of the items I won was this too. Look at this. Look how cute this is. This is a craft called felting. And there was a lady that made a bunch of these and donated it to the cause, and they auction it off. And like I said, it goes right into, they get a bag full of stuff the whole month, and they don't have to pay shipping or nothing. The disabled person gets the whole bag of goodies without paying shipping, without paying for the goodies. It goes free to uplift them because they're like in poverty level income. I think it's amazing. I love that CARE started this program. CareHeart did. And a bunch of crafters are in on it now. Like Jean Peters is her, she's like her right-hand man. Jean does a lot. And we donate stuff too when we make it, and they auction it, and the money goes into the crafters. And on Amazon, there's a feature called Smiley feature, where every purchase you make on Amazon, the money, if you want to sign up for the disabled Hardest, they're on there, that so much money from your order goes into the fund where they get the stuff to send more stuff. Like they have a wish list. No, I don't have storage areas, LT. Let me see here. I'm sitting in my bookstore / craft room. This is the rec room in the bottom of my house. I don't have storage. I wish I had storage. My attic doesn't have a floor in it, and it really sucks. I wish I had a staircase to my attic. It'd be awesome. Um, what was I going to tell you? Crap. I started to say something and I read chat. But anyways, people craft and make stuff and send it. And this is felting. And somebody says this takes a really long time. And I think this was cute. So I bought one of these at the auction. I have it sitting over here in my corner. But sometimes I get happy mails from people that'll send me stuff. I think I have a little horse over here too. I got buttons. Yes, somebody sent me this. When they find horses and little things, I get like happy mails and stuff like that with my Sunny Fun Time mails where people send me free stuff. I think I posted one yesterday where Heather sent me a happy mail, and then I have one left to post that Karen sent me. And there are some crafters that I met, and we do happy mail swaps. And a lot of people have never even heard of happy mails, but they're out there. If you type in a happy mail in Google, it tells you what they are. I asked somebody here recently if they wanted a happy mail. They're like, a happy mail? What's a happy mail? I said, a mail that makes you smile. And we do swaps sometimes. Sometimes they do swaps within Facebook groups too. Just depends on who you know. Because Arlene sent me this. The girl that made the Lohiki jiggers. I have never used the stuff yet. I left it packed. But she sent me a happy mail, and it had, she knows my favorite color is blue. So she sent me those. Look how cute this stuff is. That's why I like doing unboxings of things, because I just love it. She sent me some prayer sayings from the Bible. And then this is a little horse with a horse on it because she knows I love horses. And then she packed some trims and some flowers. And isn't that cute? She sent me a little box of goodies and tape, washi tape. I just have her box in here because I think it's cute. When I work on a project, I'll end up using some of it. But all the crafters are into something different. You know, it's amazing. Here's some of Tina's stuff. Some more of her tags. I get into this stuff. I just love it. I can't help it. Now, I used to buy off of another streamer. She sells vintage, sacred mementos. Her name is Patty. She made these. I bought this off of one of her sales. She actually redid covers of books. Look how pretty that is. And I'm going to turn this into a journal. But look at that ship. This is just a book cover that she redid. I don't know if this was one of my law books or not. I sold her some law book covers, and she redid them to where people can turn them into scrapbooks or journals. This is one of her covers too. She did this cover. Now I turned it inside out. This was actually the outside. And I flipped it around because I'm a blue girl and, well, I like butterflies. So I flipped the inside to the outside. And then what I did with this is what I consider a signature. I put in the pages that I wanted to put in. These are digitals. I got this set off of the digital off of Etsy. This is my dyed paper. I dye and bake my papers to give them a grungy look. And look at how cute this is. It's a piece of twine with a little blue dice for a bookmarker. I thought that was cute. And then this is stuff I found out of a magazine. This is more of the printables. And the reason why I like this kind of stuff, if you can't afford a paper line, because paper lines can run $10 and up, you get digitals. Like somebody else painted this and could draw it and do whatever, and they might not have time to paint every single thing they do, so they make digitals of them. And it's only $3 and something. And you get a whole entire set. Pockets. This set was huge. And then of course you got to print them off. But if you're on Instant Ink, I can copy off 50 pages a month for $3 on Instant Ink through HP. So, right now I got a lot, like 250. I need to start printing. And it saves you money than buying the regular paper line. So I like all of it. Like I just like everything. What can I say? I like the paper lines. I like upcycling. I like digitals. But in the crafting community, that's where the drama's at. CDC comes in here all the time asking me about the drama in the crafting community. And this is what you get: jealousy. Oh, don't use digitals, or oh, don't use upcycling stuff because I don't want stuff that's used in my journal. It's ridiculous. And then when you're having a sale, think about this, people. I hope people come and watch this video, seriously. If you are out and you're doing a vintage upcycling, okay, and say you're using ledger paper, because some people don't want digitals because they want the real paper. That's what makes their books a one of a kind. They try to sell these $500, $300 a piece because they have the real papers in them and blah, blah, blah. Then you get people in your sales going, well, do you have pets? Do you smoke? Did this paper come from a smoker? Really? You're buying shit from the 1800s. How can I possibly answer that? I mean, seriously. I can't help it, but I laugh at the bitchy people because I find them very amusing. Because when you're out thrifting and you're finding stuff from the 1800s, early 1900s, I can't tell you if those people had pets. I don't do a genealogy on how they lived. I can't tell you if they were a former smoker. And you get those uppity people and it's like, why are you in here buying stuff that's vintage if you're worried if they smoked a pipe or they had a pet? I mean, really? I can't help it. I have to address the situation because this was my favorite purchase. And look, people, it was thrown in a fire. Because back in the day, people used to take ledgers from the 1800s and they burnt them because they didn't care about them. Nobody knew that these were going to become valuable to crafters someday. So if you don't like fire or smokers or pipe smokers, you're not going to like this, because I wouldn't give the original pages of these away anyways. But if I go to scan it, I can turn it into a digital. And then you have people complaining about digitals because it just gets on my nerves. I'm telling you, there's more drama in the crafting community that you will ever see. You just don't see it because it's behind the scenes where everybody bitches. That's why this channel's not monetized. Because I can say what I want to without being censored. And I don't have to worry about YouTube saying, well, you're going to be demonetized because you do this or you do that. Because I can say it how it is. And a lot of crafters got pissed off because I speak my mind. And I can't help it. But you're here to uplift a person. It doesn't matter if they use digitals at the end of the day or if they use real things. I mean, look at their art. When I buy a journal, do you think I care about all that other stuff? Oh, seriously. When I buy a journal, I look at the cover, and even when you're on Etsy or a person does a flip through, you're looking at the content and what resonates with you. I love blue. I love flowers. I love horses. I go for things that is my aesthetics. I don't give a shit if a person smokes. You ever hear of Febreze? Spray the damn shit. I mean, that's just how I look at stuff. Oh my God. I actually have an awesome back scratcher I got from Wolf Water Park, Dill. It's like no other back scratcher I ever had, and it works really nice. But anyways, like I said, I just think that if people were more uplifting instead of, right before you say something negative that comes out of your mouth, think about what you're saying. Flip it to something good. And to me, it's, I like it that crafters are different because I like difference in my journals. I like using napkins, and some don't believe in using stickers. I like using stickers. I think digitals are very cute, especially when some people draw them and they can't afford an assembly line. Like, look how pretty that is. And there's just too much bickering that goes on. I feel like it's in every community for some reason. Gamers go through rough times too. I've seen a lot of trolls in the gamer streams trying to cause problems. And it's like, what? Look how pretty that is. Like, who wouldn't like that as a digital card? And sometimes I feel like YouTubers are too competitive and they don't stop and smell the roses. And I'm that type of person. I stop and smell the roses. I like taking my time. I like taking my time really getting to know people, letting them get to know me. And then if they don't like me, they don't like me. If they do, they do. I do believe in giving second chances, though. Because not everybody's perfect. I give people a second chance, but then after the second chance, I don't do a third time's a charm. And this is pretty. This was a book page with like a drippy paint. Isn't that pretty? And even though I don't shop with Patty, I still appreciate the work she did on this. I think she did a fantastic job on this book cover. Even if I'm not friends with somebody anymore or I don't shop with them anymore, I'm not going to sit and put them down, because at the time we were friends, things were good, and I don't like that either. When people aren't friends anymore, they bash each other. I don't like that either. If I'm going to bash you, I'm going to do it myself, not after, while we're friends. See if this is dry. Whoa. Still got a couple wet spots down here, but it's drying pretty good. Look how pretty that is. For Elmer's glue. That's why I like it to decoupage. Is you get a pretty gloss like it's wet. Well, I don't love everybody, Dill, but I can forgive and be okay from a distance, depending on what a person does to me. It doesn't mean you have to be a part of my life, but you can stay at your distance and I'll stay at mine, but it's over. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to dwell on it. I feel like sometimes people come into our lives for a reason and a season, and I do believe that. I believe that there are some people it's meant to stay with us long term and some people that just aren't. And you just accept things as you go. Just like relationships and marriage, and sometimes so does friendships. But yeah, I'm the same way. I try to give people chances, and then what comes of it's what comes of it. And if it doesn't work out, that's okay. There's billions of people in the world. Find new ones. But I just get, It's just really hard when you're a crafter, like in a certain niche, and then you go to somebody else's video and you watch them, and people don't realize that what we say on here is very influential. It really is influential. And say you have a young lady, for instance, that comes, or a young man that comes into my stream and says, hey, I want to try what this girl's doing. They don't say it, but they're just there, because sometimes you have lurkers and they don't even comment. But they like watching your videos because maybe they're shy. And I'm the first crafter they see. And then all of a sudden I'm just sitting here going, oh, well, I'm doing a journal and I only upcycle. I don't believe in using paper lines. I don't believe in using digitals. Do you realize the impact of those words? It can be your preference to be an upcycler, but why do you have to ditch the other people? You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be that kind of an influencer. I want to tell people, use digitals, use this, use that, find your niche and what works for you. Don't listen to crafters that put everybody else down because they do something specific. And I can't tell you how many times I went into comment sections and then, oh, well, I only upcycle. And then people, oh, yes, those digitals are just terrible. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, what? No, they're not. I can show you some beautiful digitals. But it's just irritating because that person's influencing the wrong message, especially to young minds. You have to be open to everything. And then once you find out what you like, then that's a different story. You can say, not telling people what to say, but you can say, I love to upcycle, but there's other people that like digitals, painting, to give that more broad instead of narrow-minded. And that's what I get irritated about. Because I want people to have more of a broad mind. I don't want people to be narrowed just to what I do. I want them to think outside the box and find out for themselves. Because even as us crafters, we learn trial and error too. Heck, I've messed up so many times, it's ridiculous. And I've done a lot of different types. Mixed media, this here is something new to me. I just started doing this here recently because I love watching, Tina, and it inspired me to bring more color. But I mean, I just would like to see more uplifting, and I'm good at that too. Like sometimes, even when I'm communicating with my daughters, I can write one and we do better in writing, and the other one, I can talk to her and we do better because she says, Mom, sometimes it sounds like you're mad in text. How can you tell that? But, unless somebody's cussing and, showing anger, she says, but when I hear your voice, I know what mood you're in. Like, that's what I mean. It's like, it's all about interpretation. And there's nothing wrong with the person saying that all they do is like to upcycle. Nothing wrong with that at all. And they don't want to buy the new stuff, but just don't put down the people that do it. That's all I'm saying. Because I feel like there's enough room in the crafty community for all kinds of crafts. And I've had to learn to reword certain things when I'm talking to people because they take me the wrong way. So I have to watch what I say. Sometimes it's not walking on eggshells, but it's more or less is, you have people who are, there's to me, there's two types of people in this world. You have really deep people that are sensitive. And then you have basically like, what do you call it? I don't call them artificial because they're real people. They're more surfacey. Like they're not as deep. Just like me and my sister growing up, for instance. We shared a bedroom. And I'm a clutter bug. She's not. But when you would go into my dresser drawers, you would see all my clothes. drawers were clean, my clothes were folded nicely, but I have a habit of leaving a trail. My sister, on the other hand, was, I'm going to ball this shirt up and stick it in the drawer just because I don't want to look at it, but her surface was clean. So that's why I say there's deep and there's surfacey, because it's kind of like cleaning. And sometimes you can say something to people and they totally take it to heart. So I learned to reword things. You know what I mean? So because sometimes I've heard myself in videos and I'm like, Tammy, why you sound so damn aggressive? And that's not how I mean it. It's like I'm very passionate about the things I believe in. That's why I have passion in my name, because it has followed me my whole life. Is people were like, wow, you're deeply passionate about something. That's where that comes from. Because I am. When it's something I really believe in, I'll defend it till my last breath. But if it's something that I don't know, I'm not going to stand up and pretend I know everything. You know what I mean? Like, you got to get to know me to like me or not. There's no shades of gray. You either don't or you do. Because I'm very confrontational, not to stir shit, but I'm confrontational to the point of, I'm going to be honest with you. If I'm out in a restaurant with you, Dill, and you've got a piece of lettuce in your tooth, I'm going to tell you, get that lettuce out of your tooth. If I'm out somewhere and one of my friends has got a pimple, it needs to be squeezed, I'm probably going to be the first one at your face trying to squeeze that damn pimple, because that is me. I'm very forward when it comes to my persona, but sometimes people take that the wrong way. I come off intimidating to some people when I don't mean to. It's just how I am. But then there's some things I'm shy on. Like, I was raised in a religious upbringing. I would never ask a guy out on a date. I probably missed a lot of good opportunities because I'm not that forward. I feel still like there's an old-fashioned part of me that I feel that the man should pay for the entire date. I feel if he asks you out, it's his responsibility. I'm not this type of person to divide shit. I'm old school when it comes to stuff like that. But when it comes to things I believe in or things that I'm doing, that's where I'm forward at. So there's a difference. Hey, Kristen, you're fine. I have a daughter named Kristen. Spelled the same way, too. Yeah, but Dill, it hasn't changed with me. It doesn't matter that time has changed. I still feel the same. If a guy asks me out and he expects me to pay half the date, then I'm going to get up and leave. Because that's not how I was raised. Not happening. That's why I said in this day and age, I feel for people who date. Because I remember sitting in Yahoo and listening to these guys come in, and literally, I would not date some of the guys today. Especially when I was sitting there and I would watch them say stuff in chat like, yeah, I'm going to find me a rich girlfriend so I could sit on my ass all day and play video games. What kind of a guy, what girl would want a guy like that? I wouldn't. So, that's just how I feel. But I've never looked at my husband. Like, somebody posted something one day on Facebook that was very interesting because I never quite looked at it from that point of view. Maybe it's because I come from a small town. I don't know. But somebody said something. It was a mom, and she posted this picture, and this saying was in it. It said, "My son is not your ATM." And I'm thinking, what? I would have never looked at a man like that. When I say the old way, the old school, is because to me it was respectable that the man asked the woman out and he paid for the date. It was not because I looked at them like they were full of money. I don't even care if a date's going on a damn picnic. You know what I mean? I wasn't even the type that had to go to a movie and a dinner and had all that money spent. Heck, I'd be happy with taking a freaking picnic out in the woods riding horseback. I'm real old fashioned with stuff like that. But it's like, but you're not going to get lucky just because you pay for my date either. You know what I mean? I never even believed in kissing on the first date. Maybe a kiss on the cheek if you're lucky. I am real old school when it comes to stuff like that. And I look at things today and I don't know, movies were different even back when I grew up. The kiss at the end of the black and white movies was everything, and now they're screwing on the second scene. It's like, what? The world is too desensitized. I remember when soap operas didn't even have people in bed together. That was a big no-no on TV. And I can't believe the times have changed. And seeing what I see, even, it blows me away sometimes. But I think it's not that times have changed. People have gotten desensitized to what it really means to be respectful. And I think it's sad. I really do. They were raised in our day and age, they would see things a lot differently. But I was blown away by that comment I saw. I would have never thought of that. I'm not evil-minded to think of stuff like that. It's just not my way of thinking. But I don't know. But I can understand nowadays, because kind of like when you're raised in religion, you're kind of raised in a protective bubble. Like we didn't see drugs a lot and things like that. And I noticed as I got older and I started seeing what was really out there, I couldn't believe some of the conniving things that women do too. Not bashing just men from the comments I made earlier, but I have seen some women do some pretty crude shit. And then watching Jerry Springer, you really get an eye opener. It's like, what the hell? But I don't know. I wasn't raised in an evil environment to pull games on people. So I guess that's just the difference. It still blows me away, even at my age, watching like a Lifetime movie that was based on a true life story of a girl lying to a guy saying that she's pregnant to hang on to him. That still blows me the hell away. I was a pregnant teenager. I would have never pulled that shit on someone. I would have never done that. For a girl to get pregnant on purpose to hang on to, I mean, that was so shocking to me the first time I ever heard of somebody doing that. I was like, what? Your life changes when you get pregnant. I don't care what age you are. My mother used to tell me I was 17 going on 40 when I had my daughter because I knew I had to grow up fast. And it was never about her dad. He didn't have nothing to do with her. That's a story I don't really share too much on my channel, but I have shared it in a talk show on Ty's stream. She was covering a really interesting topic about, which I love Ty's Hot Mess History. She does some great lives, people, even though she talks about a lot of historic people, famous and not, and things they did to screw up their lives. It's kind of like it's little drama, but it's true stories. But she had a topic, and I joined her panel one night where it talked about fathers who were not in the lives of their kids. Okay, so the woman ends up meeting somebody else who fathers the kids and he wants to adopt them, but the father that was never in their life didn't want to let him go. What do you think of that? And I could step up for that one because my husband did adopt my oldest daughter because her dad was an asshole. and it's just the way it is. But I have proof that he was an asshole. It's not this he said, she said shit. I literally have a letter that proves what I'm saying. But anyways, So when my husband adopted her and raised her, he did that. I didn't ask for that. When me and him got together, I told him, she's a girl, and one day her last name's going to change when she's married. And he says, I don't care. I want to adopt her. I'll tell you a little bit about my husband. And he didn't have to do that. We had a daughter between us, and she had my maiden name, my oldest. So he says, no, I want us all to have the same name. And just like another guy told me, it's a friend of mine, he said, you'll never find another man like that. That's a rare man to find, but there are men that do that. They step up to the plate and raise somebody else's person, child, and it happens. And mine did. I was 6 when she was 6 when me and him got married, and I was a single mom. He didn't have to take on that responsibility, but he did. And I'm happy that he did, because he taught her the work ethic. I can tell you that. Because both of my kids are hard workers. Because he set a good example. And not saying that I didn't, but I think he set a better example because he was in jobs longer than me. My jobs were hard, but sometimes they were temp. Because like when Falcon shut down, they moved away, and I couldn't relocate because my family and my kids are here. So I stayed here and I didn't go with the company. So I didn't have a job. Then I had to look for another one. So I've been in and out of jobs because of that reason. And plus my husband's a welder. He's certified up and down the East Coast. He's got a real good background there. Oh, they're still there. I met this girl on Yahoo named Allie. I remember me and her used to talk all the time, and she said, her stepdad that adopted her because her real dad wasn't really a part of her life, he threw her the best wedding. She says, when we got married, he wanted to pay for everything. Like he was excited. And I know a man now offline personally who's never had kids. He married a woman, took on all 3 of her kids pretty much, and became a grandpap to one of her kids. And he says, pretty good. He says, I've got all these wonderful people around me and these grandkids, and I never even had a child. And let me tell you, he's a good pap. He really is a good pap. So they're still there. They're just rare to find. And it all depends on who you fall in love with too. Who you find and you fall for and what kind of a life you make. I've known my husband since I was 15 and he was 16. We knew each other before we were married, or it's I had a kid to somebody else, but we've known each other. Like he knows all my history. I know his history. There's no secrets. Put it that way. We know the good, bad, and the ugly. And that's just how it is. But I pissed off somebody one time in my stream because they were like, oh, so your husband's your best friend. I said, no, he's not my best friend. He's my friend, but he's not my best friend. I said, I don't want him to be my best friend because when I'm pissed off at him, I have a best friend. I can rag about him too. And this guy got mad at me for saying that. How can you say that about everything your husband did? And it's like, it's none of your damn business. How I feel is how I feel. And what's funny is a week later, after he made that comment to me, I saw him flirting with somebody else. He's a married man flirting with another girl in another stream. I said, really? And you have room to talk about me calling the kettle black? But it was just, I just think people are amusing because, yeah, we've been through some tough times and I wouldn't want to go through the tough times with anybody else. My husband we have been through some times, and I'm talking life, jobs, going on strike, not having jobs. We have been through the ups and downs together. And there's nobody else I would want to lean on like I lean on him for that. But he's not my best friend when it comes to confidences. If I want to talk about women things, I go to a woman friend. Because that's just how I am. But it was funny how that guy got bent. I thought that was hysterical. And just like, one of my friends told me here recently, she says, Well, I get it. She says, because my husband's he's my friend too, but then I have another friend that I talk to when I'm mad at him. She gets it. I don't want to be married to my best friend because when you divorce, I mean, look at how many people get crushed. This person was my entire world. He was my best friend, my husband, and then damn well cheated on me. Now she's left with nobody. So, I don't want that kind of an impact. I don't want my whole world to revolve around one person, just like I wouldn't want them to do the same thing to me. You ever hear the song? Listen to the lyrics. Because if you cling too tightly, that's what I've seen happen in many relationships. You've got to have time. And I had a great aunt that gave me the best advice, and I'll share it with people out there. Dale, you poor guy. They were married for over 60 some years. And I told my aunt, I said, what's your secret? My great aunt. I love hearing old folks' stories. There's nothing better than to listen to your elderly. And she said, well, she says, how our marriage worked for years was the best secret ever. Guys and women basically want the same things. You want somebody that's dedicated to you, not going to cheat on you, not going to lie to you. And I don't care what Mars and Venus says. We do basically want the same things when it comes to a real mate. But you can't be up each other's asses 24/7. And she said, and that's how she was in her relationship. She says, my husband hunted, I liked bingo. So we had our nights that we did things separate. We would go out to eat, and she said we would have our anniversaries together, and we had our special time. She says, but you just can't be with them 24/7. You have to learn to trust your mate and let go, because if you hold on too tight, it's going to fall apart. And I remember a relationship one time where this girl was terrible. Like every 5 minutes, she's calling this dude on the telephone, checking up on him. That's obsessive. And they had a terrible relationship. Yes. And I remember one time a person said to me, because I would go out, we had a local bar here, because what do you do when you hit a certain age, We had a bar here where you would go and you would play a number. It was like the weekly number thingy, and you could win money. They had a pool tables, things that you could do. I'll never forget when somebody walked up to me and said, how come you're always in here without your husband? I said, what? First off, it's really none of your effing business. Okay, of course, I said the word. Second off, what does it matter to you? I'm sitting here at a table with 2 female friends of mine and 1 male friend, and you're asking me why I'm here without my husband. Maybe because he works afternoon turn and he's not home. Maybe because he trusts me, because I don't care where you walk in the world. I don't care if it's a bar, a church, outside your front door. If you have a good enough relationship, there's nothing to be worried about. I can go anywhere and my husband knows me. So what does it matter? You know what I'm saying? Like the gall of some people. You know what I mean? It's like, worry about your own damn life. Keep your nose out of mine type of deal. It just kills me, the things that people come at me with. And it's just like, whatever. This is my space, my world. Go mind your own. And my husband never cared. And I said, and then to top it off, Dill, I'm drinking a Coke, like literally a pop. It's not like I even was sitting there with the beer in my hand, because I had to drive home. I was my own designated driver. Do you think I'm going to risk drinking alcohol with nobody around? So what did this person get out of that conversation? I'm sober. You know what I mean? You don't see me hanging on any dudes, do you? But it's just, it just kills me how people are so judgy and nibby in other people's lives. It just drives me nuts sometimes. But trying to make a male friend is hard. You know what I mean? Like I've had male friends in my life, my whole life. And that's what is difficult. I've had 2 experiences here within the past couple years. It's just difficult because they don't understand because they don't know me. And it's like I had an older brother and sister. I had bikers, motorcycle people all the time at our house. My brother had a Chaparral, a Yamaha. Then they grew into Harleys. I had more brothers than I cared to have. I will never forget one time I went to a football game as a child, like I was like a middle school kid, and some guy stole my scarf. It was cold out, like winter was coming in. It was during a football game. Some guy took my scarf and ran with it, and I was screaming at him to give it back. And oh my God, when it got to my brother's friends, you're seeing like 5 guys chase this kid, try to beat the shit out of him to get my scarf back. And I'm like, don't hurt him, just get my scarf back. But I had too many brothers. And sometimes it could be really suffocating, but I knew them. You know what I mean? Like we always had a crowd at our house when I was growing up. So it's not like I never had male friends. And my best friend was my cousin Jerry. He was wonderful. We used to sit up on the phone right before I got married and everything. We used to talk about the Bible. 3 o'clock in the morning, my uncle would come home. Who you on the phone with? Oh, it's just Tammy. Like that's just the persona I have. Is sometimes I was treated like one of the guys and not looked at as a female because I had so many male friends and I have that kind of attitude. Men have cussed in front of me, talked about this girl they were checking out with big boobs. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? Like, I hear the locker room talk. It doesn't bother me. But it's really funny the people that don't know that a female's raised in this type of environment, and then they want to treat me like, oh, I can't be friends with you. Well, why not? And I'm like, because I'm a female? And then you meet these guys like this one. He's never had a female friend. He screws all the girls he's around. And I said, what does that make you look like? That you have never had a female friend and you want to screw everything? I would call you a little gigolo. I said, because I don't feel that way about males. I have to have an attraction. Even in my dating stages before being married, I had to have an attraction to somebody. And I'm like, you can't tell me really that you have never been around a female that you have not been attracted to because I don't see that. I don't see your vision. It's just weird though. Yeah, I know, Dill, but that doesn't mean I couldn't be friends with you. It doesn't mean that if you weren't my neighbor, Dill, and we have a bar down from where I live, that I couldn't call you up and say, "Hey, Dill, I want to go out for a couple hours. Let's go down here and hit this bar for a couple hours. I just want to drink pop and hear a band and come home." You wouldn't take me because you want to have sex with me. It's just ridiculous. I'm sorry, but if you don't have an attraction to someone, I don't know. To me, that sounds like a sex addict. You know what I mean? Like I I just can't explain it because not all males think that way. You know what I mean? Not all males want to have sex with every single female that they meet. I'm sure you have met. I mean, you can't tell me these people haven't known one female that they haven't been attracted to. I mean, think about it. I just think it's awful. See, there you go, Dill. Nothing wrong with that. But you wouldn't take me to the bar, Dell. If I called you up, you wouldn't take me to a bar for a couple hours and nothing happened. Or Peg. Peg just came in. You wouldn't do that for me as a friend. Married or not. You wouldn't just take me to a bar because I asked you to because we're friends and let's just go have a pop and listen to a band and come home. You couldn't handle that with me for a couple hours. See, that's what I'm talking about, Dill. But I had a male friend I tried to be friends with here recently, and it just wouldn't. He just couldn't wrap his head around that concept. Like he was just like, we just can't just be friends. And I'm like, well then bye. And I had to block him off my phone. I mean, this is somebody I know offline. This isn't a web person. This is somebody I know offline. But it was just, it blew me away because I was like, what? Like, okay, then we can't be friends because I'm not playing your games. I just like being friends with people who, well, I don't believe male and females can be friends. Well, then you have a problem and maybe you need to see a therapist because I do believe that men and women can be friends. You know, and then a comment was like, you know, then you get this comment, well, I'm into chicks and something else. Well, so go ahead and be that. I didn't ask you to change, but that doesn't mean you can't have a female friends. We might not talk about motorcycles or the chicks you're into, but there's other things that we can talk about. But it was just, I don't understand people today. I just don't. And because I don't believe that you have to have sex with everybody of the opposite sex. I just don't. I believe that men and women can be just friends. And nobody's going to sway it because I have male friends that I've never dated, even from high school. I have male friends on my Facebook I've talked to for years. Heck, one of them the other day just got in touch with me and found me on Facebook that we were friends when we were in high school. In middle school, we grew up in the same neighborhood, and he was just checking on me to see how I was doing, how the family was doing. Like, I just don't get it. Dill. You're so funny. That's just like Peg. I love hanging out in his stream and talking to the people he talks to when he plays music. I could see myself sitting in a bar with you guys listening to a jukebox and having a group of people like Lori and just a mix of male and females. I could see growing out with you guys as a group of people and just having a good time. I could picture it. And I bartended. So that has a lot to do with it too. It's like I always dealt with all kinds of people as a bartender. I'm a people person. I'll serve you guys some good drinks. I remember some recipes. But it's crazy. You know? Oh my gosh, Betty. I think we would need bail money with Betty. She's a freaking riot. Somebody would definitely have to bring bail money. She would probably find the biggest scammer. She cracks me up. But I think it would be fun. I do. And I just don't understand it. You know what I mean? I don't understand how people cannot see friendships. I don't know. I just think it's crazy that there's people out there that believe that people of the opposite sex can't be friends. I'm like, that's a little narrow-minded for me. I like people with a broader brain. But I don't like people being mad at me. I hate when somebody's mad at me. My daughter used to crack me up because when she was younger, if I would tell her like a chore to do and she wouldn't do it, And then I would get mad at her and say, raise my voice a little bit and be like, why didn't you do this? She'd be writing me notes. I'm so sorry, Mom. She doesn't like people being mad at her like I don't like people being mad at me, and it's funny. I would rather have it talked out and dealt with, just like an ex-boyfriend. Most of my exes I have talked to before and made closure, and then it was good. You know what I mean? Because there's a couple exes, if I would run into them, I'd say hi to them and give them a hug and ask them how they're doing. But I don't have no mean emotions towards them. You know what I mean? Like, I do believe closure is really important. You don't always get closure at the end of a relationship, but I try to. Because I just don't want no enemies. I like to be able to run into people and be at peace. So I try, and if the person doesn't want to make peace, well, that's on them. But I like having a clear conscience. I don't like ugly breakups. Okay, so the last one I did was like a brown and a white. And then the one I did before that was like a yellow and a green. We need some blue. This is my favorite color. So let me see what I can find over here. I'm going to get a couple pages painted tonight. What color is this one? Come on, I know you got names on here. Why am I overlooking it? Why does it say plaid? Or no, this is ink spot. So I guess it's a color of like blue ink. The other blue we have, it's called Cayman blue. That's too light. Then we have medium blue. I'm going to go with the dark. So we'll do this on one side. And let's do a crazy color. Maybe like a blue and lavender. Let's mix it up. Oh my God, that's so funny. She is awesome. Betty is awesome. She's funny. Oh, I can see her going out and picking up scammers. It's the way she does it that's comical. She knows. I tell her all the time when I see her, or if I'm in her comment section. She's a riot. I like people that pick up scammers. I think it's hysterical. Could you imagine scammer people dating? Like what they would do to make sure that their date wasn't a scammer? Oh my God, that would be hysterical. Betty's awesome. She needs to have her Bam Bam. Betty and Bam Bam. She is. I like how she plays innocent when she's in her phone calls. Oh my gosh. I try to do the dits too. I've done it a couple times, getting information on scammers, and it was absolutely funny. Playing like you're ditzy and you don't know what they're talking about. I think it's fun. I think it's fun. I tried to have a conversation with my hacker on Instagram and they wouldn't answer me, but another hacker using the same line, I did get some answers out of them. I got smirks. I used to have a stalker booter when I was on Yahoo, and we actually became friends. Who becomes friends with their booter but me? It was funny. There was a story there. One of these days I'll have to share it with you guys because that was funny. I even had his address. I know his name. I know everything about him. He don't know mine. That was a funny story. It's a long story. I'll have to tell you guys sometime, but it was absolutely right. But I do try to give people a chance to. I used to have a friend of mine that told me in Yahoo, you never give people long enough chances. I said, because usually, and this is just my instincts, you know, guys, I was told I was an empath. And I have done a little bit of studying on it, and it's quite interesting. Something to do with neurons in your body. I don't know. But I have a very strong intuition. Let's just say that. And when I would be in a chat room, I always knew who needed blocked, even though it took people longer. I knew in the first 15 minutes, first 10 minutes, sometimes even sooner than that. And there was a girl from Alabama. Her name was Lisa. She says, Tammy used to crack me up. She said, I would sit in the corner of a chat room and just listen to you. And she said, you always knew when booters were coming into the chat room, and I couldn't figure out how you picked up on it. She said, but you always knew when there was a troll, what they call them on YouTube. We called them booters. She said, you would know, like in shortly. She says that it was so funny because you would have them already blocked, and then would take the rest of the chat room like 15 minutes or longer to get them blocked. She says, but you always had it done. And the one guy who was my booter stalker, he would even tell you. He'd say, she has 60 of my IDs on ignore. Because he said, he come into chat, he said, how do you always know it's me? He said, you've got like over 60 of my IDs on ignore. And I said, because I know you're a booter and I just know. It's just instincts and paying attention. You know, certain phrases a person uses when they talk or they type. And it doesn't take a genius. It takes listening, paying attention. And over there, how people clone, like on Facebook, you had to pay attention. I mean, like seriously pay attention. And somebody came in with my ID. You can't duplicate on Yahoo because if a name was already in use, it was taken. That's the one thing I don't like about YouTube is people can have the same channel names, and that shouldn't be allowed. It should be just like an email that when you sign up, they say that name is taken. You either have to add a number or something to the end of it to change it. Well, people that didn't listen, you could always tell who the good people were that didn't listen and pay attention. Somebody, you see me under Tammy's Passions. Somebody would come into, just as an example, Tammy's Passions and try to stir up shit in a chat room. And if you didn't know that dot was there, you would think it was me causing the problems. And it wasn't. So being that I ran a chat room for 6 years, I picked up on that shit. And I knew when somebody came into a room and wasn't the person that they said they were, because I would be like, that's not that person. And they're like, how do you know? I said, because it's got an underscore or because it's got a dot. That's not their ID. because I have a photographic memory when it comes to shit like that. Don't ask me why. I don't care, and I don't know why. It just happened. And I would just know. And it's just something you just pick up on when you're a listener and you pay attention. And that's what's wrong with this world today. You get too many G's and not enough listeners, and that's what happens. That's why our government's so screwed up. Somewhere along the way, people quit listening. And it's sad. Because I pay attention to stuff like that. But all I know is you can get blamed for stuff that somebody else is doing, and it's not you, because people don't listen anymore. And I noticed there was a YouTuber on here. I know the phrases the real person uses. And there was a YouTuber on here that made 10 different accounts in the same name of a different person, One person, they made 10 different accounts and were pretending to be that person. And people didn't realize it at first, and they were bashing the real person. And he's like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, because it wasn't him. And that's what I didn't like about YouTube. So here, under a post here a little while ago, what are they called? YouTube creators. Let me see if I can find it so I can show you what I did. Because of this happening to this other person. YouTube Creators has a channel. They're called YouTube Creators. They have 5.88 million people. I joined the channel, and there was a question on here. Damn it, I don't know if it'll show me. Is it under this one? Just give me a second. There was something that I put under here that I wanted to bring to YouTube's attention. I can't remember how I worded it, and I don't want to mess up. And it got a lot of funny feedback too. If you're not following this channel, it is very interesting. Oh my God, I don't know what video it was under. I'm looking because my email was blowing up with responses. It was so funny. Because I have my email set to, if somebody responds under something I say, maybe it was this one. Yes. Okay. So under the video that says Copyright Creator Safety and Clips Creator Roundup, you will see there was 3,700 replies. Okay, so I'm going to open it up. There's me. Okay, so I'm going to read this to you. And this is before YouTube handles came out that you're getting emails on. I put, my question for YouTube is, why can more than one channel have the same exact name? If it is a branded name, then it should only have one owner, which is true. If people are getting monetized, where you see the blue check marks and shit like that, why are they allowing people to have more than one name? I've seen people create the same name as another YouTuber, then come in and troll the real owner. When even creating an email, it will say that the email is taken or not. I think YouTube should do the same. Just a suggestion. I think the block feature should be kept the way it is, and thanks for sharing the tips. It had 180 likes. The response under that, because it's true. One person put, I agree. The another one says, I actually agree to this. It makes so much sense. Agree. And then all of a sudden, after all of these, like a month or so later, we get YouTube handle IDs. So they do listen. And that's the way it should be, because there shouldn't be a bunch of dill holes running around or Tammy's Passions running. If your name is branded, whether you get monetized or not, it should be your damn name and nobody else should have it. And that's the way it should be to stop some of these damn trolls. I have at least 10 of this person who was getting trolled of his name on block, because that's how you get ruined on here. You know, look at the fest, and like person can lose like 1,000 subscribers or 1 million overnight. What do you think a person can do if they have your ID and they go visit people when your channels are open and people think it's you? I wouldn't want people going in and bugging my friends when they're on a live stream pretending to be me and cussing them and making fun of them or calling them fat and ugly. And then it comes back on my ass because people are going to block me thinking it's me. I saw this stuff happen years ago on Yahoo. So it's nothing on YouTube to see this shit. You know, people pretending, but on there, you couldn't have the same exact name. So what I mean, there was a dot or something where you knew it wasn't that person. But over here, it's not like that. So I was hoping YouTube would do something to fix it, because it's not fair. It's not fair to do that to people. But some people were mad at my comment because they must be trolls. And like this person here, look what their comment was. I agree, but I think it's already too late because so many people will need to get their channel banned or renamed. Why not? If somebody else has Tammy's Passions, which they don't, that's why I always search my names of my channels before I create them, because I don't want somebody to have the same name as me. But what she's saying, I understand. But on the same flip side, the original person should keep the name, and they should be telling the people who have different ones after that person that they're going to have to add a date, a letter, or something to make it theirs. You know what I mean? And I don't understand why YouTube didn't do that to begin with. It doesn't make any sense to me why they didn't. Thank you, Tennessee. And then look what this person said. Now, to me, I'm sorry, but this is a stupid comment, because there are only so many names that can exist in the first place. Really? You're telling me that you can't think up of an original name? Then you have problems. I mean, seriously. One channel may make far better content and be the king. What does that have to do with having the same name? This person's... Some of these comments were so funny. And I told that person back, that's not true, because chat clients and emails do it. That is why people can add numbers or add extra letters. And there should not be a competition. First come, first serve. Also, you can change your channel name very easy. Excuse me, I answered all these people that came at me. This is just funny. But I like reading the comments because I find this interesting. I mean, if you look at the comments, and I'll put it in here, and you guys can go look at the comment section, because it just went on and on. Like there was a bunch of, there was a bunch of replies to that comment. I think that's the most likes I've ever had on one of my comments, was 180 on somebody else's channel. I thought that was funny, but I didn't do it for that reason. I actually did it because it didn't make any sense to me. But here's the channel. And it is good because if you watch some of the videos on there, it's educating too, being that it's YouTube creators. They give tips and different things. And I do believe they read the comments though, because I found it interesting that like a month or two later, if you look at the date when I published that, and then you look at the email we got when they said that they were doing nicknames for the handles on YouTube, it was after I made that comment. So I know they read it. And you shouldn't have to. You know, if you have the original dill hole, you should be able to keep it. If somebody else would have had it before you, then YouTube should have suggested that name is taken. You need to add something else, and you wouldn't have been able to make it, because that's what happens with emails. I mean, because think about it. Think about it. Nobody should be able to break into your email because it's your original name. If somebody had the same name as you on an email, you know how confusing that would be? When you would go to sign into your account and all of a sudden you're getting the password doesn't work. We have passwords with our IDs on here too. So they said it doesn't make any sense why they would let people make the same name. I will never understand that about YouTube. But my first name on here was Tammy's Makeup Treats, because I was doing makeup reviews. Then I changed it to my real first and last name. And then I saw YouTube sent me an email, something about your name is branded. Well, I didn't want my real name branded. So some people might like that, but my ego is a little different, I guess, because I don't want my name branded. So then I changed it to this one, Tammy's Passions, because okay, if you're going to brand something, you brand this one. But I did do a search on it to make sure it wasn't taken before I made it. But I don't want to share my name, you know, especially when you're monetized and you're making money on a channel. Why would you want somebody to have your name? Were they going to get your check next because there was an error with somebody that didn't pay attention on YouTube? I mean, come on now. Common sense. Sometimes I think some people lack it nowadays. I like thinking things through. Well, thank you, Tennessee. I want to come to your state. I've been complaining to my hubby all the time because we love Tennessee. Just saying. We stayed in Pigeon Forge. I got the horse trail across Dam Lake. The dam, what they call it. There's a place, they have a whole bunch of places that you can horse trail. We went to the Ripley's, believe it or not, aquarium. Oh my God, we loved it there. We didn't want to come home. I would have to say I love West Virginia because we are country here too. But if I chose to move to any state, it would definitely be Tennessee. Because we had so much fun when we were there. We went to Gatlinburg and we had fun. We stayed in it's kind of sad now because I know there was a fire there, and the cabin that we stayed in at the time was one of the ones that got burnt in the fire, which is really sad. But we stayed in one of the cabins that's built into the side of the mountain, and they were a blast. There was a hot tub. We took the kids with us though, but there was a hot tub, a pool table. They were really nice, and they were reasonable. They weren't really expensive. I got beautiful pictures of Tennessee too. We went when my youngest graduated high school. I wanted to take both. Yes, it was devastating. We get to see the Dixie Stampede, and when the guy rode around on his Tennessee Walker, he threw a flower and my oldest daughter caught it in the audience. It was so cool. She was so excited. Her face was all red because, you know, she was pointed out for catching the flower. But it was a lot of fun. We had a blast. Dixie Stampede is definitely a must-see. It was so cute watching the little kids get down on the ground and they had to catch the little piggies. It was awesome. But I wanted to take both of my girls flying on an airplane before they left. So we took a vacation to Florida to meet my friend Rita from Yahoo, who passed away later. She was fighting lupus. And I told her we would meet her before she passed away. So we flew to Florida, stayed in Fort Myers, drove to St. Pete, ate at the Cracker Barrel, and we got to visit with them. And then when my youngest graduated, before she graduated and left home, we went to Tennessee. I always try to take a big trip so that my kids could have a good experience before they left home. And I'm so glad we flew because my oldest daughter ended up in a job where she had to fly. And she's like, Mom, I'm so glad you flew me in a plane before I left home, because I wanted to have the experience with them before they grew up and left the nest. So I loved flying. I thought it was a blast. I was like a kid. I was like, wee! I'm not afraid of heights, just so you know. I had a blast. You have a good one too, Tennessee, and thanks for coming in. When we were kids, I'll share a childhood memory with you guys. It was one of my all-time favorite things to do, and you'll probably think, oh my God, this girl's crazy. But you know, boys will be boys, so will girls. So one of my all-time favorite things as a kid was me and my cousin in her yard. She had beautiful trees. They had this great big apple orchard. And we love horses, but we never had the property at that time to own horses. Now, her parents did at one point, and so did mine early when I was young and couldn't enjoy horses. I had my horse later. But there was this great big tree. I wish I remembered what kind of tree it was. She had saddles and stuff in the garage because they would take and go, their horses were boarded somewhere else, so they would go horseback riding when they would leave, but they had the saddles kept at their house. So right behind their garage, they had this great big tree. So we used to take the saddles and the bridles and put it on the tree limb and pretend they were horses. That gave new meaning to stick horses, let me tell you. But we would literally climb up in the tree. I don't know if anybody ever got pictures of us doing that, but it was a lot of fun. And we would put the bridle on the edge of the branch because, I mean, this tree was like real thick branches, and we would pretend they was our horses. I have loved horses my whole life. I'm not kidding. So, you know, we had the stick ones. We used to romp around the house. And then we had that tree. I think of the things we did as a kid. That's so funny. But we used to have a blast. And then I got my horse later in life. One of these days, I'll have to bring his pictures down here and show you. He was part Egyptian, Arabian, part Appaloosa. He was so pretty. He had a pure black mane and tail. His tail almost touched the ground. Oh my God, he was beautiful. But I do have pictures of him. I wish I'd have had more. Okay, so we got a purple and a blue page. And Peg, you are such an early bird. What the heck? 3 a.m. Well, you have sweet dreams, Peg. I think tomorrow I am going to make a nice chicken, mashed potatoes, and biscuit meal. I'm getting hungry, you can tell. I eat so late at night because my hubby don't get home from work till late. And we usually eat together because it's the only time I can eat. And then I try to stay up like an hour after so I don't have indigestion when I fall asleep. kind of like our breakfast. So you never know what we're going to have. Okay. This is cool. I'm almost done with my background pages. You're welcome. Once I'm done with some of these background pages, I got to decorate. I think a botanical theme will be fun and challenging. You know, just like I said, I found this picture out of a magazine. This butterfly one that I added earlier. But I'm gonna look for stuff like that to add into this and turn it into a pretty nature journal. These pages dry pretty fast with this acrylic. See how many I have left. I'm not going to paint all of them. I'm just going to finish the ones I gessoed. And then I'm going to start decorating. And then once I get some of these decorated, then I could do more. I have one set besides this one. Just one. Because, yeah, I'm almost finished with the pages I gessoed, I believe. 2. 3. 3 sets is all I have left. Ooh, I better get busy. Cussy cutting my decorations. So, the blue. Yeah. Smooth this out a little bit. So it was still wet. Well, that looks like another lump on the other page. Like I added too much paint. Let me find the blue paintbrush. I got new paintbrushes coming. I'm so excited. There. Because I need more for different colors. There's a lot of green in this book. What other colors? Let me look here. I want to see what other watercolors I don't have. There's a page. It's a mixture. I think I did. There's a green and a yellow, a pink and a green. Green and orange. There's a whole bunch of different colors. Kind of like the patchwork pages too. They're kind of pretty. I don't know if I did the whole entire blue one though. I don't think I did. No, I patchworked it. We need to do stay up. I feel like having a craft lunch tonight. Put this up here. Let's do maybe like a blue and a rusty color. I like my blues. Okay, that's dry. It's still a little wet. Yep. Put you with some you up here. Smooth you out a little bit. Getting blue paint on my fingernail. I can't help it. Maybe I'll wait to paint next week. I want to do something to this page so bad. I'm just going to go do it while I'm thinking of it. Just because I want to. Tina made me do it. I'm going to blame Tina for this. Her and Teresa. I just can't help it. See what this law book page says. Wife's incompetency. Oh boy. To testify against husband does not apply in civil case. Graydon versus Graydon. Testimony that wife is defendant of killing officer told officer to quiet defendant who was out of whack held not inadmissible because wife was incompetent witness against husband. What the heck? This is hysterical. Wife's incompetency to testify against the husband does not apply. It keeps going about that. Defendant is in execution could testify to agreement with deceased father giving him land. These are actual law book pages. Look at that. I love the little keys. But sometimes you got to read these pages before you actually use them in crafts. Because I know one time a friend of mine must have been a romance novel and there was smut that came out on the envelope. And she said, there was a romance scene. I said, it's a good place to decoupage a napkin. I said, cover it up. She laughed. I said, you never know what's coming out of these books. I mean, that's hysterical. It just is. At least I think it is. That's what's nice about using some of these frail pages, because these pages were like, I forget how old this book was, but You can't do anything with them. They're like too fragile. But they are great to decoupage with. But I mean, when we were talking earlier, Dill, about women, I'm not saying that if I wasn't out with a male friend, I wouldn't buy him a drink. I just think when it's a date, I'm more old fashioned. But I do not have a problem whatsoever buying a drink for a male friend. Whatsoever. Okay. So we're going to take this, move it over. I just can't help it. This blue page just, it needs words. I just want a decoupage on it. I'm looking at it and I'm like, yeah, I mean, decoupage. So we're going to put this stuff up right here and up here. I can't help myself. There's something about little pieces of paper that just looks so cool. And of course, I had to drop a piece. So we're going to take this brush that I have soaking in rubbing alcohol. This is my paint glue brush. So we can use men's supplies. We just do it for something different. We're going to turn these over. I'll figure out how to put them back. No biggie. Okay. Get some Elmer's glue. That's clear. We're going to go wee all the way up. We're going to cover top part of the page. So I'm going to get it wet again. Except this time with the sticky substance. Do you guys watch Where the Crawdads Sing? If you have Netflix, it was such a good movie. At least I thought so. Put you here. Put you over here. Put you up here. Come on. Yeah, I don't want you over there. I want you separated. There. There. Do the hair. And then put you in here. Stay right there. Cool. Love it. Okay. Now we're going to take some orange. We're going to use a little makeup sponge. We're going to dab it. That's so much fun. It's like, wee. Okay. So we're going to set this button aside on a napkin. Because I'm being messy. I'm going to take this. Because I will use these later. What? What did I do? No. Oops. I made an oopsie. My phone got bumped. Sorry, Tennessee. How in the heck does that happen? I accidentally hit the poor man. Oh. That was a boo-boo. He's going to be mad at me. Oh my God. I had a boo boo. Sorry, Tennessee. I didn't mean to. I moved my phone away from me. I'm dangerous with that thing. Okay. Come on. Work. Accidentally lifted this up and I didn't mean to. Okay. All right. So still a piece flying around. Okay. Ah, another piece. What the heck? I did my gluing a little different this time. Maybe I should have stuck with my original way. That looks so cool like that. Okay, now for this page. How about adding some? We'll do it my normal way. Let's add some tissue paper. We are going to color up these 2 pages. Just be dropsy. Thank you, Tiff. Do you like doing mixed media too? I think mixed media is a lot of fun. don't think I have any yellow down here. So it'd have been kind of pretty to put into the mix, but I can do something else instead. Here. That is awesome. I'm glad you enjoy mixed media too. I really like when Tina and Teresa do their mixed media too. Oh, I guess I do have some. I didn't think I did, but I do. Let's do this. It's here. Then put that right there. Come all the way down. Oops. There. You on Facebook, Tiff? I have a group if you want to join with crafting. Let me get the link for you. Thank you. Let me see here. Here's the Facebook group if anybody wants to join us crafters. You are more than welcome. So we'll put that simultaneously across the pages. And I'm going to get, that's my gesso one. I use this as a glue brush. This one's falling apart anyway, so we're going to take a paintbrush and make sure this is covered. This will be a pretty background. Why is this always out of shot? I'm hanging off my desk probably. So basically just trying to get this dried down some. I like that yellow mixed with that green. Okay. So we have these 2 pages. And then, what else do I want to add? How about I'm going to take this sponge and add some white and bounce some more just to give it another color. Just white. Bright. While we're at it, even though there is some glue down, this needs to dry some. I'm going to do some on this page too. These makeup sponges are pretty cool. I'm glad I brought some down here. Just cuteness. That over there. Okay. Since there is so much white, we're going to add some color. I'm going to take this brass texture. And do like 4 little circles around each other. We do 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Almost like a funky looking, I don't know, flower. Let's do one up here. We do 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, it might look like a blob, but it's definitely different. 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's do 1, 2, 3, 4. And then down here, 1, 2. Well, they're not technically circles. They're more like wonky circles. But they're like a splash of color. Okay. I can deal with that. Alrighty then. Put this back on here before I make a mess. It's a pretty color though. kind of take down some of the white so both pages aren't too white. Okay, let me check chat. Thank you. Hey, Metro. Thank you so much. And how are you with all those dates? Sweet guy. You had more dates than I think I've ever had in my entire life, Metro. I'm going to mute a little bit though, so you guys, if you don't want to, if you mind the dryer, just say so. Because I don't want to hurt anybody's ears. I can mute it if I need to. These are beautiful pages. I really like how these turned out. Just going random. Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah, my hubby's birthday was the same day as yours, the 26th. That's too funny. I had like 4 birthdays pop up on the same day as you guys on my Facebook. I took and I made him cube steak, mashed potatoes, gravy, and corn. And he likes the Marie Collander's Razzle Dazzle frozen pie. Oh my God, that pie is so good if you like berries, like blackberries and raspberries. It's a mixture. And what I do with it is I bring it home and I take it out of the freezer and I let it sit for like 10 minutes. Then I take a fork and punch it in the top. Then I take my hand, of course, clean. I'll wash my hands first. Rub butter all over the top of it and then sprinkle sugar all on top of the butter, like across the pie. Bake it for an hour. It is on 350. It's the best pie. I took them to a family reunion one year and somebody said, "Did you make this with berries?" I said, "No, it's actually a Marie Collander's Razzle Dazzle pie." We didn't even know we never bought it before. Like we didn't even know it existed. And my husband's cousin, because we used to pick blackberries and my mom would make like a cobbler when we were kids. And my husband's cousin told us about it. She goes, "Have you tried the Marie Collander's Razzle Dazzle?" We're like, "No." Ever since then, we always have one in the freezer. My husband loves that pie. As a matter of fact, I still got some more left. But that's what he had. So it was really good. For a frozen pie, it's not really bad. The only ones that I have a problem with it on frozen is like, I can't do the pumpkins and apples because I don't know. I guess I was spoiled because I was raised with, I don't like a crunch in my apple pie. Like I like it totally baked where it melts in your mouth. So I make those homemade. And then I make my pumpkin pies. Seems like the ones that's in the store, like I don't know, like they're just not good enough. Like the pumpkin is just not as flavorful. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if it's they add too many spices. I don't know what it is, but I like Libby's. Thank you. I will tell him you said happy birthday. I'm so happy you had a good birthday. That is so sweet. Your family, I seen a couple pictures when I was browsing through Facebook, and your family seems to really like Allison too, and that's awesome. Robert's a girlfriend, that's a great thing. Because I know a lot of people are weird about, I don't know, their in-laws, if you know what I mean. But I'm glad they get along. It's good to see families that do. I always forget to share out my stream. I should put it on Facebook, and I always forget to for some reason. I try to share on my tab when I remember. As a matter of fact, I didn't even know they had that feature when you hit share, and at the top you can share it to your community tab. I didn't even know that was there. I discovered that. I can't remember whose live stream I was in. It wasn't too long ago. And I'm like, what does this create a post mean? Usually I know that kind of stuff, but I didn't know it. It was like so many months ago. I don't know. When I started posting the streams, I didn't even think about it. I always forget about the community tab. If you go back to like the beginning, I think I posted a couple jokes on it and then I forgot about it. I've been meeting some really cool YouTubers on Whatnot. It's sad that I've been on YouTube since 2017, and some of these channels I never found. And they're really nice people. I got to know them through chat on Whatnot, and then I was like, I have a YouTube channel, and then they're starting to promote the YouTubers too, and it's been nice. Where do you do your blogs at? Your vlogs at? Because I think the only place I have you is Facebook and Instagram. You have like a vlog page? Oh, that's great. That's so nice. Allison seems so shy, Metro. Is she a really shy girl? She seems like a shy person. She seems really sweet, though, from what I can tell in your pictures with her. Oh, I'm not really on Twitter much. You know, I never really put much focus in Twitter because I don't know. I think Twitter is a hard platform to grow on. It doesn't seem like anybody's interested in common people. It seems like most of the people on there is famous or something. I don't know. I've been on Twitter for a long time, and all I see is followers come and go, come and go. Like they don't stay around. It's like the most flipped one I've seen. But then again, I'm not active on there much either, so that might be why. I'll tell you who I like to follow on there. And I know it sounds crazy, but there's a channel on Twitter called Cat Turd, and oh my god, I laugh and laugh. It's if you like politics and you really want to get to know stuff that's going on, Cat Turd is the one to watch. Oh my gosh, that one makes me laugh. I forget who's behind it. But I'll pull it up. It's got a cat on it, I believe, with glasses. But I can't help it. I think it's the funniest thing ever. Why can't I find it? Here it is. They've got 1.6 million followers. For people that don't discuss politics on YouTube, go here because they do. It's a branded name and it's got a cat with spectacles. And I'm telling you, this is one of the funniest Twitter people I have ever followed. They speak the truth, nothing but the truth, and it is funny. Somebody posted, I missed you and I'm glad you're back. Look at that picture. Like they were in jail. It might be too. Who knows if they were. Oh, they were suspended off of Twitter. Oh my God, that's so funny. It says finally got back on Twitter after my bullshit suspension. So must have said something that you Twitter didn't like, of course. So much for free speech. But I don't know. I love that channel. I think it's funny. I can't believe they got suspended. Well, as far as free speech is concerned, I don't think people have the right to abuse it. But if they have a certain point that they can make and show proof of it, I don't see why it should be suspended. You know, politics is such a touchy subject anymore. People are scared to talk about it. I'm not scared. If somebody brings it up, we'll talk. It's just a lot of people get into fights over it, and it's crazy because I told my husband, I don't know. We talk about certain things sometimes, and I said, it's more than just about politics. If you go back into the day when telemarketers and stuff started, I told him I don't understand why they were trying to separate us. We're not the United States. We are definitely the divided states. We haven't been united in a really long time. I've seen it for years, even if other people weren't paying attention. The only thing that we are ever united on is when there's a crisis. Like when September 11th happened, or if there's a fire or something that happens, that's when I feel like the United States becomes united, when they start donating things to help people. I still think we have that in our country. But I think as far as politics is concerned, it's corrupt. It's been corrupt for a long time, and they're putting the wrong people in. And I think, to me, in my opinion, back when telemarketers started, because I remember as a kid when I started out in the workplace, it's nothing like today. We didn't hear a family can't be hired. Your significant other could be hired. If you could do the job, you were hired, you know? And I feel like, which I do understand why they do that though, because if somebody gets into a fight and then the taking sides and all that crap, but you're there to work. You're not there to bring your personal shit to work. That's just my philosophy. But I feel like when they brought telemarketers and they were separating people, Like here, you sit in this booth and you're on this telephone, you're not allowed to talk to your coworkers. It's almost like slowly our country has been put to a point where people don't communicate like they used to. You know, like when I was growing up as a kid, you were in somebody's yard, your parents knew where you were. Like all the neighbors knew each other. And if you got in trouble in school, you better believe you were going to catch hell when you got home, because your teachers kept in communication with your parents. And it was a different era. And it's like, I feel like that doesn't exist anymore. Like there's some people that don't even know their neighbors anymore. I mean, my parents even said where they live, they've lived there since I was in second grade. There's so many people who've passed away and people who've moved out, people that moved, they don't even know who lives in the neighborhood anymore. Like it's just to that point. And then when Corona happened and everything, everybody got even more isolated. You know, and they had to start doing like doctor's appointments over the web. And I mean, thank God for the web. I do thank God for the web at a time of us going through this, because people could still have people to talk to. You know, there's not so much delayed messages. People were able to have people. But I feel like somewhere along the line, we have gotten to the point where we don't listen enough anymore, and people don't know each other as like they should anymore. And I think it's sad, because I feel like we have become divided because of that reason. You know, I had a relative who moved to Florida, and it's not so much that I have a problem with immigrants coming here because we were all immigrants. But if you have a country that's starving and can't even take care of their own people, why are you letting new people in? I don't understand that concept. You know what I mean? Like, to me, it just doesn't make sense. Because we were born here, but there's some people coming in that weren't born here. And it's not that I have anything, it's not to be racial or saying I'm against other ethnics being here. But if they're coming to the United States and they're changing things, there's a problem. That's where a war is going to happen, because people that have been here have certain beliefs that kept this country going. And like, for instance, I was listening to an article here, reading this article the other day. They're eating live bugs in New York and trying to make us give up chicken and cows. I don't think so. I'm not eating bugs. You know, if that was your culture before you came here, that's one thing, but you're not going to press your culture on me. And that's where I think we're changing. Because when other cultures are mixing in with ours, and like, I mean, there are countries that won't eat cows because it's like a sacred animal to them. But that's your belief, not ours. You know what I mean? It's such a mess. And like I said, I had a relative that moved to Florida. He moved home. He said it was horrible because he was in so many different languages there. He says, I felt like I was in another country. And the part of Florida he was in, he says, I couldn't wait to come home. He said, it's really hard to work in the medical field when you don't speak 5 different languages and you're trying to comfort someone. And he said it was awful. It was a nightmare. So he come home. He says, because I feel like it's not even the United States there anymore. And you know, it's just like when we travel, my pet peeve has always been, we shouldn't have to have a prompt when we call on the phone. If you know, press 1 if you speak Spanish, press 2 if English. No. When you come to the United States, you should learn to speak English, because this is an English dominant country. It's no different than if I go to France, you know, having a book to decipher words. They have books out there where it has French into English, so that when you go to France, you can learn to speak some French, because you want to know how to get around, you know, like asking for taxis and different things. Well, that's what should happen when people come to the United States. They should learn to speak American to be able to do things. I mean, that's just how I believe. And I just think it's sad because our country's changing so much. It's not the United States anymore. And if people can't see that, then they're blind, because it isn't. I feel like when I listen to people clear out on the West Coast, they're talking a whole nother language than I am because I don't understand it. It just doesn't make any sense. We were our over us learnings that we did when we went to school, and for these kids to be having sex changes when they're too young to even know what the hell they want to do for a living, I have a problem with that. Because kids shouldn't be making those kinds of decisions until they're of age. And I feel like this country has taken away parental rights to a point that it's disgusting. All right, Metro, you have a good one. When our kids are under our roof, we're supposed to be teaching them how to make it. You know, to best of our ability, how to raise them to be self-sufficient when they go on their own. And I think it's sad because I feel like the parents' rights are being ripped away from them as they raise their kids. And I think it's really sad. There's a lot of controversy going on. I just don't understand it. I don't think I ever will. And people need to step up and start doing it. I can't even imagine what these military men got to be rolling in their graves when they gave their lives to fight for the freedoms of this country. They have to be rolling at seeing these changes. And how many families must be sick to their stomachs knowing that they lost their kids, grandkids, and brothers, sisters, dads to wars when all these changes are happening that we did not fight for. And it's just really sad. Sometimes I just watch some things on here and it just blows my mind. I don't have a problem with change, but it's got to be changed for the better. It can't be a slide backwards. And I'm not seeing those kind of changes. I'm not seeing good changes. I'm seeing bad changes. Things that's totally against beliefs. And it's really sad. Especially when people go to church and they say one thing and they're hypocrites. I've seen the most hypocritical people in church, but I also see good people in church. But you can't say that you believe one way and then follow another. Because it's just not, it's not right. God forbid what it's going to be like when Judgment Day gets here. Oh boy. I don't even think I want to be. I don't think I want to be here when Judgment Day comes. I think this page over here is pretty dry. Yes. But this page over here, I still see some gloppy glue. So this is going to take a little bit longer to dry. Oh. So this will probably have to dry overnight, I imagine. Yeah, it's still wet right here. There's a piece there and I think a piece up there. Rest of that page looks pretty good though. But I'll let it dry overnight and then hopefully next week we can come back and finish the last 2 or 3 sections I said that was left. and I'm going to let them dry, and then we can start decorating more. But in the meantime, I'm going to have to look for some stuff besides that butterfly, since it's going to be more of a botanical type. Love that butterfly. I'll have to look for some more stuff like that to add. See what I could find. I don't know if I have any National Geographics left. I'll have to look. I went through a lot of them when I created some journals. But anyways, whoever hung out with me today, thank you so much for coming in, because this was fun. And whatever time zone you're in, I hope you're having a great one, and I will see you soon. Bye.